And there you go, you have completed the most basic cash flow diagram for yourself. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Afiq. For today, we'll be going over what I have done to kickstart my financial journey and what you can do to also start yours as well. For this topic, I'll use a reference to Seedley's Money Framework blog post, as I believe this is a simple outline for the basic understanding and pointers to take note of. That is why I also use this framework to structure my starting steps. Take note, this is not financial advice, but instead, I'm simply sharing what I have done for myself in my journey. Today, we will cover the basics of finances, your income and expenses, your assets such as your savings and investments, as well as identifying liabilities and how to prepare for them. It is important to understand these 4 basic terms that will be continuously used over and over again. Aside from that, we will also go over an example of building your basic cash flow diagram so that you can better understand how your money is allocated based on the 4 terms mentioned earlier. Income can come in many forms, but by definition, income refers to the money that a person receives in exchange for their labor or product. Income can come in many terms as well, such as earned income, additional income, gross income, and take-home pay. Earned income means the income you have earned from working. Additional income can come from your side hustles besides your main job, or from your dividends or investment returns. Gross income is the total income you have before any reductions, such as the 20% contribution to CPF, and the remaining 80% is what is known as your take-home pay or your net income. Besides earning your income, in the case of a student, you can put your monthly allowances as income when we build our cash flow diagram. To start off our cash flow diagram, we firstly allocate our income. For this example, let's allocate $2,500 as our take-home pay. For students, instead of this amount, we could allocate, let's say, $400 for the month. Expense is all about where you have spent your money and how you will spend it for the month. Categories under expenses include utilities, groceries, transportation, recurring payments, and other allowances set aside for the month. An important note is that you have to always monitor your expenses. You have to take note of where your money is going and under which categories, such as fixed or variable expenses, because your money isn't coming back once you've spent them. By tracking your expenses, you can also notice any discrepancies in your payments and look for opportunities to reduce any costs along the way. For example, your phone bills or Wi-Fi bills, and changing them out for a cheaper alternative. By reviewing your expenses, you can also slowly develop the habit of evaluating your wants and needs to ensure you don't overspend for a particular month. One rule I like to follow is the 30-day rule, in which I place an item I want on hold until after 30 days to determine if I still want the product after the period or if I have forgotten about it. Sounds harsh, but I've saved hundreds of dollars in expenses simply by following this rule, and honestly speaking, more than 90% of my wishlist items were forgotten after the 30 days. After sorting out our expenses, we first add up all our monthly expenses from all categories to form up our total expense. For this scenario, let's assume our average total expense is $1,200. The balance after subtracting our expense from our income will be $1,300. Where should this $1,300 be allocated to then? The place to allocate the balance after your expense should ideally be towards your assets. For today's video, let's take our assets to build as our savings and investments. However, before proceeding further, we should always remember to have a safety net before we push our assets further. And this safety net comes in the form of insurance. Your physical health can only cover you for so much. In my opinion, what is the point of securing your wealth if your health isn't even secure? I'm not so well versed with the topic of insurance, but what I do know is that it is important to have that financial buffer for yourself if anything happens to you, which eats up your money and your income. The keyword here is if. Anything could happen and we can't prevent the future, but we can minimize the impact of it if we have started the safety measures from earlier on. The safety measures come in the form of insurance. For starters, the basic coverage that you should look for are hospitalization plans, personal accidents, critical illness, and whole life or term plans. Savings has always been a traditional and a simple way to build up your cash assets, as they can be easily implemented. An emergency fund or savings is a sum of cash that is set aside and reserved strictly for emergencies. As the name suggests, an emergency fund should be liquid and readily available for use in the form of cash. Having an emergency fund provides another financial safety net and buffer for yourself for anything that requires urgent cash to be used. With savings, you can have peace of mind knowing that you have accessible cash to provide you with a safe margin should there be any excess expense needed, such as retrenchment. At least when you're retrenched, you know you have 3 to 6 months worth of cash minimum to sustain yourself until you obtain another job. There are different rules to follow when it comes to savings. Some say 3 to 6 months of living expenses, some say 3 to 6 months of income. Myself, I also have my own rules for savings, which I will talk about in another video. Like and subscribe to get notified for future videos. Besides allocating a sum towards your emergency funds, it is also important to identify your future liabilities to prepare for them. Liabilities are what you owe. Or as Robert Kiyosaki said, liabilities take money from your pocket. There are two types of liabilities, current and non-current liabilities, which are short-term and long-term respectively. Some examples of liabilities are student loans, housing down payments, or mortgages for 12 months, all of which can be projected and saved earlier. Let's say you intend to put aside 20% of your income strictly for your emergency funds. Rather than putting it all into that, assuming it has already reached its target, it will be better to allocate it for the next earliest goal for your liabilities, such as your housing down payment. For example, after settling your emergency funds, you can start saving up a target of $3,000 for the desktop setup that you had your eyes on for a while. Therefore, instead of putting all your funds into your emergency funds, you can also begin allocating a percentage to save for your liabilities. Hence, liabilities represent the amount of money you owe and you need to repay, and you can be ready for it earlier once you have projected it from an earlier stage. Investment refers to the act of allocating money or resources to grow your income or wealth in the future. It involves committing your money to a particular asset, project, or venture in the hopes of obtaining a return on the investment over time. The goal of investing is to increase wealth, achieve financial goals, or secure future financial stability. Investments can be made in various forms such as stocks, bonds, REITs, mutual funds, or businesses. Before you begin investing, an important note I have for you is to always invest in yourself and your future. Some of the main reasons to consider and begin investing is to accumulate your wealth to achieve your retirement plans, as it allows you to grow your wealth over time. One of the ways is to invest in assets that appreciate or increase in value, such as stocks or real estate. Through investing, you can also increase your net worth and achieve your financial goals. Another point for investment is to minimize the effects of inflation by investing in assets that outpace the rate of inflation to help preserve and grow the value of your money. Let's say the rate of inflation right now is 3%. But you can invest in stocks with annual growth of 4% and it will still beat the rate of inflation by 1%. The money you allocate is still comparable after inflation, and better yet, it grew an additional 1%, right? However, in pursuit of your financial goals, it may not be wise to only have one basket of assets. You should try to diversify your investments to reduce and manage your risk. By spreading your portfolio across different assets or industries, you can reduce the overall impact if one of the components perform poorly for that duration. An added benefit, especially for Singapore's context, is that by investing into your SRS account or by contributing money into your CPF, you can earn tax benefits as it will reduce how much you pay for your taxes for the year. Overall, investing is essential for building wealth, achieving your financial goals, and securing a stable financial future by allowing individuals such as you and I to grow our net worth, beat inflation, and diversify our portfolios. There are so many forms of investments and more to talk about, so do expect some more videos from me soon where I will cover some of my own investments and what I hope to explore soon. Now that we know some of the things we can do with the balance of $1,300, let's allocate them to build our assets. For this example, let's simply split it off into two parts, your savings and your investments. It's up to our budget and how flexible we are to split off the money, but we can split them like this. And there you go, you have completed the most basic cash flow diagram for yourself, and with this, you can already start making your budget guides or even follow some templates available. The next level after sorting out your income, expenses, assets and liabilities is to build a budget for your cash flow. Budgeting is the process of creating a plan for how to allocate and manage financial resources. It involves breaking down income and expenses, also setting and aligning your goals and priorities for spendings and savings. The purpose of budgeting is to provide a framework for making financial decisions and to ensure that your money is used efficiently and effectively. It helps you track your income and expenses, identify areas of overspending or underspending, and make adjustments as necessary to resolve discrepancies. Budgeting also helps in setting financial goals such as saving for a specific purchase or investment, paying off debt, or building an emergency fund. Additionally, budgeting can provide a sense of control and peace of mind by reducing financial stress and uncertainty. Just by looking at our cash flow diagram, we can already create a template that follows a 50-30-20 budget rule. 50% for expenses, 30% for wealth accumulation, and 20% for savings. What is important for a budget template is to ensure flexibility, as not every month will be the same and there are so many budget templates you can try out online. I will go over my budget template in another video, so stay tuned for that. The first big step in starting your financial journey is to understand the 4 basic terms. Let's recap. Your income and expenses, to break down how much you have left from your earnings after your essential spending from both fixed and variable expenses. Next, how to identify your liabilities to prepare yourself for when the time comes by saving up for it, and at the same time building your assets through emergency funds and investments for your future. I believe financial knowledge is essential for us as it empowers us to take charge of our finances by making informed decisions, avoiding unnecessary spending, building wealth over time, planning our future and retirement, and most importantly, reducing financial stress. Having adequate financial knowledge sets us on a path towards financial independence and financial success throughout our lives. I hope this video has given you some insights into the basics of finances and how you can start it off properly with at least an understanding of the processes and intentions for certain things. Thank you all for watching. Do like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos from Afiq's Wallet.